Warrnambool is a football mad town, and for 35,000 people there are a lot of football clubs. We're going to have a look at all of the football grounds around Warrnambool. Here's a Reed Oval where Warrnambool Blues play. They're the major sort of town side of the town. They've won 25 senior premierships, by far the most in the Hampden League. So there's two leagues, Hampden League and Warrnambool District League. There used to be a Warrnambool District League club here as well, which was East Warrnambool. Now the Reed Oval was upgraded, but the East Warrnambool room stayed here. They didn't get the upgrades. I don't think they wanted to. I don't know all the details, but yeah, anyway, this club finished 2019 prior to COVID, and now they've remained in recess, but now they're officially folded because I think the council have not allowed them to release this building here, their old club rooms. So yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate, but I guess if they're not playing, it's pretty hard for the council to justify them having club rooms. I'm going to the game here tomorrow, so I wonder if this is open, because I do know they open it at different times, but yeah, maybe all this stuff will no longer be here anymore once the lease is finished up. Reed Oval is a top quality oval, and I've seen an AFLW game here before, so you could definitely have AFL pre-season games, no worries. Centre wicket here, the ground is very nice, a lot nicer than Koroit when I went out there just early this afternoon. You got hockey at the back there, a little practice goals over there, and then there's the netball. All the grand finals would be here, but you can still park your car around the oval. They've got the reserve seats here, so you can just park your car here and watch the footy. Although this is weird, it goes from Warrnambool to South Warrnambool, which is not their ground at all. I guess they put this up every game separately, so they're going to reserve seats for the opposition, or reserve parking, sorry, for the opposition players or officials. I don't know. That's pretty weird. Never seen that anywhere else. The amazing thing about the Reed Oval is they actually got 3 ovals in the one facility. So here is South Rovers, the Lions play here. Also Wesley Yambuk, who I have covered in a different video, but anyway, that's cricket. But this is a Warrnambool District Club, so like I mentioned, there's 2 leagues, Hampden League, which involves the whole general area, and then Warrnambool District, which is obviously just more Warrnambool. It's a lower standard. I noticed it doesn't get covered as much in the local media as well. Change rooms in here, you got the obligatory WorkSafe sponsor, which is at every Victorian ground pretty much. They called this Walter Oval, and there is an old scoreboard as well as a new one, which surprises me for the District League level. Obviously the service isn't as good here, but anyway. I'm watching Warrnambool play tomorrow over there. I wish they were playing here as well at the same time, because it would be so cool to like check out 2 different leagues within the same facility. Just about, it's pretty unheard of in the country. You might come across it in Melbourne or Adelaide, but definitely not in the country. I've never really seen anywhere else like it. Club rooms here, Harold's Bar, Warrnambool District Premiers 1975. I believe South Rovers started out as South Warrnambool Juniors and then sort of just became their own club. That's my understanding of it anyway. So here's the oval. We've got 1 netball court, which looks fairly nice actually. Recently upgraded Reed Oval down there. But would you believe down here, there's even another oval. The 3rd oval in this facility is Mack Oval. Now, bloody Warrnambool people are so active. There's people at every single ground here on a Friday afternoon, but the view here is so cool. This is where Russell's Creek play, another Warrnambool District club, so the smaller league around here. Brick club rooms, and then a pretty old sort of looking scoreboard there, but it's rustic, we like that. Cricket nets are no longer used by the looks of it, and then 1 netball court. So Russell's Creek are the Kangaroos and wear blue with a white V. So we always like it when clubs wear sort of a different design rather than just the North Melbourne jumper. They don't cover the cricket pitch here, but I really like the view you get out the back of the oval. You can see the racecourse. So Warrnambool Racecourse looks fairly significant. Looks like it's sort of a high quality track. Russell's Creek have won the most Warrnambool District flags, which is 9. It's not a lot. They actually share them around a fair bit in the Warrnambool District League, which is always a good thing, I reckon. The 2 benches literally right next to each other, which is probably not the greatest idea. And I don't know if this is a coach's box or a timekeeper's box. It's built straight on top. Has it got any electronics in there? Nah, I reckon it just might be a coach's box, this one. Alright, the second biggest club historically in Warrnambool is South Warrnambool. They play in the Hampden League, so They're not just in the District League, they're in the Hampden League. They won the last 2 premierships in that league, so they're going quite well at the moment. They've won the second most in the league's history. Now this is a very Victorian ground, like very stereotypical. So you've got the bike track around the outside. This is called Friendly Society Oval, which I think was like a thing back in the old days. They used to have like groups of people called the Friendly Society. I don't really know too much about it, so if you know, then let me know. And there's also a thing out the back here which is super Victorian. There's a straight track here with this bloody big tower, and I've seen this at Stawell, at Rapanyup, Hamilton. I think it's for CFA training or like CFA contest or something like that. I should know more about it, but yeah, this has been at a few ovals I've been to. We don't have it in South Australia, so that's why I don't really understand it. On this building, the judges box gives us a few little answers. It's the Fire Brigade competition, and it was 100 years in 1994, so it's a bloody old comp. And this was put here in 1982, this judges box, so I guess it's like on the finishing line or something. Yeah, I guess you start there and go down here. I'm not too sure. Head to Warrnambool at Reed Oval. This is so much more old school, just with the bike track here, and then you got the bench there. So you have to like try and get down the bike track without slipping over in your boots, which is kind of weird. But a few AFL players from here. Jonathan Brown, probably the biggest name from Warrnambool. Then you've got Leon Cameron. I think he might have started at Caramit when he was young, but Wayne Schwass is another one. So they're all pretty big names in the AFL era. Usually in the Mallee, they paint the silos. Here they've painted the water tower, which I haven't really seen anywhere else. Notice there's a fair slope to this ground as well, so if you get a real wet year, especially with the water coming off the bike track, I'm sure this would get very muddy. Right, centre circle here, and I've tried to keep this level. Hopefully on the camera you can see the slope. It is pretty bad heading down this side. Looks like there's a trotting track out the back of this ground as well. Look at the goals heading up the hill. No disrespect to anyone from South Warrnambool. I just thought, you know, being in the Hampden League, they might have been given a bit more money to do this place up. It sort of seems like it hasn't had as much money, or definitely like Reed Oval gets all the money around here. To be fair, the surface is quite good, considering I'd imagine how wet it could be. They've got like Triple J, like decals on the... I wonder if they had like a one night stand bloody concert here or something, but geez, there's a fair amount of AFL players from here. Look at all this, and some contemporary ones. I should have mentioned Hugh McCluggage. He is a good one for sure. Even some AFLW. Oh, there's James Raleigh, Matt Maguire. He was a pretty good defender. They got him in the Lions kit, but he was good for the Saints. Jay Rantel, I think he might even play here at the moment. Jamara, obviously #1 draft pick. Sam Dwyer, Brent Maloney, so some pretty solid ones. And I should mention they are the Roosters, which is not a super common name in Victoria, but I think they wear the South Melbourne sort of style. One good thing they do have is their own gym, so I assume the players can just rock up and make use of it whenever they want to. Alright, next up a ground I am familiar with, Davidson Oval, where old Collegians play, and I watched Matthew Lloyd play here last year, and that video did really well, so fond memories of being here. Old Collegians wear green with a gold OFC monogram, and they derived from the old Christian Brothers College. I believe the connection now isn't as much. Most notable player for the Warriors is not an actual footy player, it's Dave Hughes. And I think he played in a under-18 grand final here, might have been under-17, and they ended up losing it. So there was like a Gatorade promotion where old Collegians, this would have been like 20 years, maybe 30 years after the granny, they all got all the old blokes to come back, and Gatorade sort of like did a video about them all getting fit and getting back up and firing again to play a rematch of the game. So that was sort of pretty notable about 15 years ago, I reckon. Collegians have won a lot of flags in the 60s and early 70s. There was actually recommended, I think in 2002, for them to merge with East Warrnambool and make the Warrnambool District League a bit smaller, but obviously didn't happen. They stayed separate. East Warrnambool are no longer with us, but old Collegians are still going. Change rooms here, fairly old school. Club rooms are a bit better. The Warriors, so started up in 1953. There's a game on tomorrow, so they've got the Kid Tasman on display here. They're obviously pumping it out a lot, Kia. All right, more of a working class sort of area, I think, is Merrivale. And I'm told this ground is as big as the MCG. It is bloody huge, this place. It is actually a better oval than what I was sort of expecting. It isn't a bit of a hollow. Seems like, I mean, Warrnambool was like kind of a hilly area, so that's sort of maybe why some of these grounds are a bit up and down. But it's actually quite decent. You got the netball courts up the top, and then yeah, not too much of a slope here. Electronic scoreboard with the old one. Another very similar to where we're up at Russell's Creek. You got the box on top of the bench there. But club rooms here, nice sign there. The Merrivale Tigers. They are, in fact, some really good lighting here. So they are spending a bit of money here. I think they've got given a bit of money maybe at Merrivale than some of the other places. I'm pretty impressed. Probably the surface was better at the South Warrnambool ground, but I would take this one over South Warrnambool for all other aspects. So here we can see some of the Merrivale jumpers. Started off with black with a V, but then went to the normal Tigers jumper. You got the VCFL one there. I'm not sure what that logo is, but yeah, not too bad. I like the jumpers being on display, that's for sure. All right, here we are out at Dennington, and we got Donald. How you going?
Yeah, good, thanks.
Good, so check out his channel. He's done a video on Dennington before, actually, so we'll have a good look around, and you can maybe tell us anything interesting. So another Warrnambool district club, the Dogs. Dennington, I guess they were the Dogs and just never wore a Bulldogs jumper, which is interesting. How do we rate the oval here, you reckon? It's a little bit muddy. It's not too bad. It could be worse, I reckon. There's a little bit of a slope going uphill, isn't there? But I think there's slopes on most of the ovals around here. Yeah. One thing I noticed, and this is like everywhere here for some reason, the bench has like a coach's box on top.
Yeah, there's a few of that in the league.
Yeah, there's a few around. Because like when I played at Kybe, we had one, but it was like it was a separate one.
Oh, yeah.
So it wasn't like on top of the... I mean, it was, but it was a bit taller, so I don't know. I just find that interesting. Like a lot of the Warrnambool district clubs, for whatever reason.
Too,
yeah, that's right. Well, there you go. They are very short. I'm sure a few people would hit their head on that. How would you describe Dennington? We're sort of like on the outside of Warrnambool, aren't we?
Yeah, just outside.
It's like an outer sort of suburb. Like you sort of turn off the main road and go on like this half like weird little road, and then I guess this area is probably growing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It seemed like there's a couple new houses around. So yeah. One thing I noticed as well at Warrnambool is every ground I've gone to, there's always people here kicking the footy. It is unreal. Like, I know people do this everywhere, right? But Warrnambool just seems different. Like, I don't know. I thought that, like, at some of the small grounds, I thought people would go to Reed Oval, fair enough. But these grounds were, like, not even in the middle of town. And there's still people here.
School holidays as well.
Oh, that's true. Where they're all kids wanting to do something at the moment.
Yeah.
10-minute drive out of Warrnambool here to North Warrnambool. It's a little bit of an interesting one considering this is out of Warrnambool, but they're in the Hampden League, so one of the 3 Hampden League clubs. But they used to be in that in the Warrnambool District League a while ago. So this is in a place called Bushfield, and Bushfield and Grasmere merged. They became Northern Districts in the Warrnambool District League, but then they moved to the Hampden League and took a step up. They've got the same benches here. Like, I keep seeing these benches with the little bit on top for the coaching box. They're very small benches around here in Warrnambool. I thought they might be a bit taller than that. But anyway, interesting at the moment. I think they got Nathan Vardy playing here, and also Michael Barlow plays the odd game, which is kind of weird to think that he comes from Melbourne to play out here, which is sort of a small area. So I noticed driving out here, there's a lot of new buildings, new houses. So obviously in Warrnambool you can't build south of the town, so there's a lot of new houses out this side of town. So I guess this club's probably going to grow even more in the future. That's my estimation. So yeah, it's pretty nice. We've got the electronic scoreboard out the back here. The club rooms aren't too extravagant. I thought maybe these Hampden League clubs would have a little bit better club rooms, especially the Warrnambool ones. But considering I've been to some of the other Hampden League grounds, they just don't seem as flash. But we are sort of out of town here. It's not really a major area. So the population is about 500 here out at Bushfield. And you know how we're talking about at Dennington, how they didn't wear the Bulldogs jumper? That's because Bushfield used to wear it. So that's why. That's why they didn't. Dennington wear the Dogs, but didn't wear the Bulldogs jumper, because here they used to wear the Bulldogs jumper before they merged, and now they actually wear a West Coast design, which is kind of rare. We don't see a lot of West Coast sort of based clubs. There's actually Hawkestown MacArthur. You did a video down there as well.
Yeah.
On them, on the Eagles, and I did a video not too long ago as well. So there's a little bit of a crossover. Goalposts here are not very tall for a major league, which is interesting. The surface a little bit muddy down the centre, but yeah. Anyway, could be worse. At least this one isn't in a hollow out at this ground. We've got the grand events buddy set up here. That's interesting. But yeah. Oh, right, okay. Yep. So the whole of Bushfield is here too. So even though we're out of town here, most of the people that play for North Warrnambool would be from Warrnambool. So that's why they're in this video, even though they're not actually in Warrnambool itself. It's kind of funny they even call themselves North Warrnambool, but I guess they get a bit more brand recognition that way. All right, last up here is Allansford. Now, this is sort of like a settlement outside of Warrnambool here at Allansford, but they're the Cats, playing the Warrnambool District League as well. I'm sure a lot of people from Warrnambool would still come out and play for Allansford. They were West End Allansford, so I don't know. Do you know much about the West End Football Club?
That's the one thing I one ground. I don't know where they played. If they were called.
Yeah. That's something I need to look more into, definitely the West End Footy Club. I think they were one of the early ones in the Warrnambool District League, but they merged with Allensford and they sort of dropped that name. They're just Allensford Cats now. Nice little grand. It's actually the first grandstand I've really seen, a sort of half proper one. I'm not sure if there's any others in the Warrnambool District. There's definitely some in the Hampden, but yeah, kind of cool to see that. Looks like they've got a new club room here. It looks very fresh. That looks pretty good. Even the goalposts look pretty good. Can't really complain about this ground too much. I think it's pretty nice, pretty classy. It's a nice little area. I think Allansford, do you reckon it's a... Yeah, it's a nice sort of good little area just outside of Warrnambool. It's probably like, what, five minutes out of Warrnambool, so it's not really that far out. So it's really, it could be an outer suburb in 20 years anyway, just on the edge of Warrnambool. So it seems like they've done the exterior here.
Yeah. I've looked into the club rooms, they still look the same as they always did.
Yep, okay.
Yeah.
So we just made it look a little bit nice and fresh, but anyway, they look new to me, so that's good. Nice little grandstand. It's a little bit longer grass here, but it's not too muddy. That's the positive thing. And then like the change rooms over there, it looks all open. I reckon this might be open for campers. All right, that's it. Thank you to Donald for joining me for a couple grounds, and definitely check out his channel. What is your channel called?
Donald Murphy, former and current footy ground.
Yeah, so there we go. It's a you cover sort of this sort of area. So if you're interested in Warrnambool and surrounds, definitely check it out. Cheers for watching. See ya.